Guys, there is one word that is f***ing up your entire life. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand what that word is and realize that if you can just stop letting it control you, you're going to open yourself up to everything you want in life and becoming the man you've always wanted to be. So what you're seeing here on screen are 5 pictures. These are all things that society says you should do. Society says you should go to college. You should get that 9-to-5 office job. You should be a nice guy and buy your girl flowers and be a beta male, soy boy kind of thing that society's always telling us to do, right? You should get married. You should listen to your woman when she's complaining. Happy wife, happy life, all that kind of stuff, right? We've all heard this kind of crap in our lives. The question is, what does this get you? Well, the first thing it gets you is a woman who is cheating on you, or she's leaving you on red. You know, I've been cheated on in the past when I used to listen to what society told me to do with women. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been through that kind of stuff. Or even if you haven't been cheated on, you've certainly done the whole let's be a nice guy, buy her flowers routine. And where did it get you? She's talking to another guy and just leading you on. You're getting left on red. You don't understand why. You're like, I'm doing everything they said I should do. I don't understand this. It gets you stuff like this. Some shitty apartment you're living in with fluorescent lights overhead. This is all you can afford on that job they told you should get. You're driving some old Kia to a job you don't like. Imagine you get in that car and you're driving to work and you're like, I don't even like the job I'm going to. I hate this car. I'm stuck in traffic. This all sucks. This is what doing what society told you to do gets you. You're a billing specialist making $50K a year. The average college student has $38,375 in student loan debt. And the thing is, most of those people don't even know why they went to college, other than they were just told that they should. They didn't have a plan. It's not like they were going to go get their MBA and climb the corporate ladder, or they were going to, I don't know, be a doctor or a lawyer. Most of them went and got just garbage degrees. They weren't thinking about it. You might be one of them. You just did the next thing society told you. This is what that gets you. This is what all this stuff society told you to do gets you. It gets you girls who aren't loyal and you can't trust them and they don't respect you. It gets you a crappy, broke lifestyle. It's just nothing you want. So the question from there is, how did it end up like this? Like, I thought we did what society told us to do. Well, it comes down to one word, and that word is should. And that is the big word of this video, guys, the word should. All of these things society told you you should do. You should go to college. You should get that 9-to-5 office job. You should buy her flowers and be a nice guy and all that kind of stuff. You should get married. You should listen to her problems. You should be on the happy wife, happy life thing. It's all about the shoulds. Should. That's all anybody ever says, right? You hear it 50, 100 times a day. Should. You should do this thing, right? Should is a word society uses to guilt you into doing what it wants you to do. Think about it. Every time there's a should statement, it implies that you should do something because otherwise you're a bad person. You should go to the family reunion. You should get married or you're a bad guy, right? They're just constantly guilt tripping you with this word should. The thing about should statements, though, is they have no basis in reality, and they're almost always not in your best interest. Think about it. Here's an example. You shouldn't care if she has male friends. Haven't we heard that kind of thing before from the mainstream media, from women, from all this stuff? You shouldn't care. He's just my friend. They say this kind of crap. Ask yourself, how does that statement benefit you? Even if it was true that she wasn't having sex with her male friend or something like that, how does that statement benefit you? You shouldn't care if she has male friends. I think you should, right? Like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? Again, they make these statements to guilt trip you and control you. You shouldn't work so hard. You know the kind of people who tell you that? Broke people. People who aren't accomplishing things in their life. They'll tell you that. And what does that statement accomplish you? Does that benefit you if you want to be successful in life for people to say you shouldn't work so hard? Because they throw that at you as a guilt statement. You're working hard and they want you to go do something else with them. Go out and drink. Or it's your family members telling you you shouldn't work so hard. You should do this thing with us or go to this family reunion or whatever. They're trying to guilt trip you. They're controlling you when they say these things, and it's not in your best interest. You should be balanced. Balance is gay, guys. Seriously, my friend told me, he said balance is fake and gay, and he was so right about that, because you can't be successful in life if you're balanced. So what's up with this you should be balanced thing? Who's telling you that? Is it in your best interest to hear that? You should settle down. How many times do guys hear this? It's always when we're rising up, right? You're starting to make some progress in life, and they'll tell you should settle down. And why are they telling you that? Are they telling you it because it's in your best interest? No, they're guilt tripping you into dating some 4 out of 10 chick you're not that interested in. You should settle down, right? Women will tell you that. They'll just say this kind of stuff. You should settle down. Like, it's in their best interest, not yours. That's why they're saying it. They're guilt tripping you with this word should. Should. They're constantly doing this crap. You should get a job that doesn't pay well. You know, they won't say that exactly, but I had a story one time when I was in my early 20s. I was trying to figure out how to start a business. And it's tough, right? I'm like broke all the time trying to figure this thing out. And my parents kept telling me I should get this job. They'd send me these job postings, and they're like $8, $10 an hour jobs. And I would explain to them, I'd be like, listen, I understand I need to make money. I get that. But how does this job that pays me like $200 a week solve my problems? Because it's not going to pay me enough to cover my living expenses. And at the same time, it just distracts me from the thing I want to do long term. But they'll still say this kind of stuff. You should get that job that doesn't pay well. You'll hear boomers say this kind of stuff. Oh, McDonald's is hiring and stuff like, well, what does that accomplish? They're guilt tripping you. And I'm not saying you shouldn't work. Everybody should be working, but you shouldn't work a job that doesn't pay well. You know what I'm saying? But they'll say this kind of stuff to guilt trip you. How does it benefit you to work some crap job that doesn't pay your bills? It just wastes your time. Doesn't make any sense. Hustling backwards, right? You should do whatever your girl wants. People will say that. They won't say it necessarily in those words again, but they'll imply it in their statements. Woman's always right. Things like that. They'll try and tell you this. Is it in your best interest to believe this? That you're just a doormat who has to listen to whatever she says. She's always right. Kind of stuff like that. Does that make any sense? Again, do any of these statements benefit your life? Should statements, all they are guilt trips designed to control you, and they're never in your best interest. Should statements are really just a giant shit test, guys. This is an important concept to understand. I really actually dawned on me while I was making this video. I was like, holy shit. Every should test is just a giant shit test. Now, you might be wondering, what is a shit test? A shit test is society's and women's way of seeing what kind of man you are. And you're going to start noticing these everywhere. But a should statement is basically a shit test from society. And the way you pass the test is to not give a fuck what anyone says you should do. It's a giant test. They want to see if you're an alpha male or a beta male. And I know that those terms sound cringe to people, but seriously, that's what they're doing. If you flinch when people tell you you should do something, if you comply, if you're controllable, they figured out you're one kind of guy. If you rebel against that, you refuse, you say, I don't give a fuck what you think I should do, and you go do what you believe is right, then you've proven you are in a different camp. And a lot of us, you know, if this stuff doesn't come natural for us to figure it out a lot of times, and we're raised in society, we're programmed to be good little boys from the jump. And so it takes a while to figure this out. You know, I used to listen to what people told me I should do. It was hard. I would always be rebelling and stuff, but I would try and kind of go along that path, especially with women. I had that kind of like mindset of, guess I should do what she says, or I should be nice, or should happy wife, happy life kind of thing. I had that stuff in my head, right? And so I was in this one camp, and I realized, no, they're basically, all society does is pull these shit tests out, which are should statements, to see what kind of man you are. Because if people can just tell you you should go to college, and you say, well, I guess I'll go to college, it means you didn't have a plan. Or it means you're too big of a pussy to enact your plan, and so you just went with theirs. You should settle down. If you just let that guilt trip control you, then you're one kind of man instead of another. It's a giant test. I want you to think about that. Every time a should statement is thrown in your face, it's a test. I want you to understand an important concept. As a man, you should be uncontrollable. Seriously. If you can be controlled, I don't think you're a man. Like, I think on some level, if you have an employer, you aren't a full-fledged man because you're being controlled by somebody. And that might offend some people. And listen, we've all been in situations where, you know, when you're in your early 20s, you're not the top of the totem pole. You're probably going to have a boss. But I would tell you, part of developing as a man is you can't have a boss telling you, hey, did you get that report done? Hey, do this. Hey, do that. You're controlled. As a man, you must be uncontrollable. I'm so serious. Listen, last time I did have a boss, I respected the man a lot. He was very similar to me in this mindset. He had that same kind of mentality. I had such a hard time listening to the man, and I respected him. I would do what he said. I was like 24 years old. I would do what he said, but it was like grinding my gears. And it wasn't even unreasonable shit. I was just like, stop telling me what to do. Like, who are you? Like, and all this stuff. Like, it would drive me nuts. And funny story, he was the same way. He ran UPS stores. Like, he owned the UPS stores. The corporate would try and come in, because UPS stores are franchises. The corporate would come in and try and tell him what to do with his business. You got to do it by the planogram. It was like this system of how the store was supposed to be set up, and you got to do this and this. And he would run the store his way. And so when corporate wasn't there, he would just do whatever the heck he wanted. He's like, here's how we're going to do it. And he was better at it than corporate because he knew what he was doing. He ran a very successful store. They would come in, basically the entire day that corporate was there would be him arguing with corporate, refusing to do what they told him to do. Because he was the same way. He was like, you're not controlling me. The hell is this? I'm telling you, this is a very masculine thing, guys. It's a giant shit test from society to see if you can be controlled. That's what shoulds are. They give you a should statement, and they want to see, are you going to be controlled or not? Your default reaction when somebody says the word should to you should be to do the opposite. Seriously. I was in a mastermind call the other day with a couple friends of mine, and one of the friends tells the other friend, he says, you should take a Zen and like lock in and stuff. Like, take some nicotine, focus, get some work done. And the other guy says, I wish. And we were like, what are you talking about, I wish? And he said, my fiance won't let me have Zen pouches. Like, she basically saying you shouldn't do that. And I was in my head, I was like, bro, if a woman told me I can't have a Zen pouch, I'm just gonna put 10 in. Like, the fuck? Seriously, a lot of people are going to be like, this guy's tripping, this guy's wild. I'm telling you guys, because I used to listen to what people told me to do. And now at this point, I'm like basically flat out uncontrollable. I don't mean be a menace to society, like just cause problems. I can get along with people. But this notion that you can control me is insane. Seriously. And it should be insane to you. There's a difference between cooperation and control, okay? Things being in your best interest, right? Maybe it's in your best interest to get along with what other people in your company want to do. But this idea of control implies submission. This idea that I should do something or that I have somebody controlling me, it's unacceptable. And I'm telling you guys, get this in your head. As a man, you should be flat out uncontrollable. And I know you might think that sounds extreme, but here's the thing. This is what the shoulds got you. You might think, Keefe's an idiot. What a douchebag. He's an alpha male. I know I'm going to get some libtard saying that stuff in the comment section probably. What a guy. This guy's insecure. Some crap like that. But this stuff on screen right here, we've already seen. This is what the shoulds got you. This is what control got you. They told you to go get that degree. They told you to go get that job and be a good little boy. You're getting $45K a year. You're so good. Like all that crap. They'll hit you with that shit. It's demeaning, It gets you cheated on. I should do what she says. I should look the other way when she talks to Chad. I should do... Like, they say this crap, right? This is what should gets you. It gets you the worst in life. You're a doormat. You're a nice guy. Enough of this crap, guys. Maybe it's time to try something different. Even if it sounds radical. Even if it sounds like you're going to be a douchebag. Like, who cares? I'd rather be called a douchebag than live this crap, okay? So my solution to you guys is this. Be uncontrollable. Build your life from the ground up through rational thinking. This is going to change your life. This is when I said the title of this video is a mental shift that's going to unfuck your life. This right here is the mental shift. Be uncontrollable. Build your life from the ground up through rational thinking. I promise you this will change your life. Here's some examples of what I mean because you might not understand. So somebody says you should get married. The should statement in there, if you just accept that, then you're being controlled. Maybe you just didn't think about it. You accepted it. This one took me a while because I would always be like, I guess I'll get married someday. And then I kept thinking about it. I was like, no, I'm just doing that because society said I should. I keep pushing it off because I don't really want to, but in the back of my mind, I still had it in the plan because I figured I guess that's what you do. But the more I thought about it, I was like, no, I've just been programmed by society to do that. Is it actually in my best interest? And that right there is the building from the ground up rational thinking part. You get the should statement, and then you ask yourself, does this actually make sense? And now we're thinking rationally rather than just accepting the control of other people and what they tell us we should do. And when I thought about marriage, I was like, I just can't make an argument that this makes sense. The only one that makes sense to me is the idea that I want to have my children raised by a nuclear family with the same last name. That's the only argument, and that might be a good enough argument that I'll eventually do it. But at least now I'm thinking about it. See, the point isn't that you can't do these things. If you have a rational reason why you think getting married makes sense for you, and you've built this from the ground up, and it's your own decision rather than society just telling you should do this thing, I got no problem with it. My issue is when you're just doing stuff because people said you should, and you haven't thought about it. In my case, I've thought about marriage. I'm not sold. I'll be totally honest. You should work that job that doesn't pay well. When they tell you should go get these jobs, you should work that 9 to 5 corporate career, even though it doesn't fulfill any of your dreams, it doesn't get you where you want, it makes you unhappy. Well, let's think about this from the ground up. In my case, I knew I wanted freedom. I knew I wanted to be filthy rich. Corporate job's not going to get me that. 9 to 5, making $50K per year is not going to get me there. Just didn't make sense, so I didn't do it. I dropped out of college when I figured all this stuff out and I found another path. Again, if your goals in life are different than mine and you can get them by climbing the corporate ladder, then by all means, as long as you've thought this through. But if you're just working some job you hate because they said you should and you're afraid of judgment or whatever, that's just ridiculous. Now, here's the thing I want to tell you guys about it. When you live this way, when you're uncontrollable and you think for yourself and make your own decisions, people are going to call you names when you do this, They're going to say you're childish. But just remember, it's all a big shit test. And I got a crazy story for you guys about this. I have this one belief that as a man, I'm not going to change any diapers. And that might sound ridiculous to some of you because you've probably been programmed. You should split the chores and all this kind of stuff. But my thing is, listen, if I'm making a ton of money out here and I'm paying for my wife or my girlfriend, whoever it is who's raising this child eventually, if I'm paying for her entire life because I'm the breadwinner, why am I cleaning the diapers? You're the stay-at-home mom for a reason. Take care of this shit. Like, I'm not saying if my wife is sick and can't do it that I won't do it, but I'm saying it should never be implied that it's my responsibility. It should never be considered a 50-50 thing that I'm changing diapers. And so I told that to a couple of these girls I knew. I said, yeah, I'm never changing a diaper. Like, it's just not happening. My wife's changing the diapers. I'm going to make the money. That's how I'm going to do it. They lost their mind about this. They're like, I can't believe this. How could you say that? Oh my God, you're so this. You're a child, blah, blah, blah. They would call me this stuff. And I just stood my ground. I was like, I don't care. Again, we're passing the shit test. I don't give a fuck. They were like, you should do it. You should split the chores. She shouldn't have to. And I was just like, why? Like, what is with this? You're trying to control me with this word again. I knew it. And I was like, no, I'm doing what I'm doing. And guess what? I ended up taking one of these girls out on a date later. Like, they'll get mad, they'll flip out, they'll do all this stuff. But again, it's a big shit test. They just want to see what kind of man you are when they say these should statements. And a lot of guys, when they say that, they'd be like, I'm not changing a diaper. And then the girl gives them crap about it. They're like, well, okay, I guess I'll change some diapers. I'm not doing that. No, I said what I meant. I meant what I said. I've thought this through rationally from the ground level. And I was like, it just doesn't make sense that I'm going to make all the money and do half the work on the child. It doesn't make sense. And if a woman isn't interested in that partnership, fine, go find someone else who fits your life better. But that's the point, guys, is like, I thought it through. I'm not going to be controlled. And they can call me what they want. That's fine. You're going to have to get over this. What kind of man is worried about what people call him? Seriously, this is just go look at every guy you respect online. He's getting mud thrown at him all the time. This is something I noticed about society, is that you've got the alpha male guys who are out there crushing it in life. Then you've got the heckler class. The heckler class are the media, it's the feminists, it's, like, it's just the Karens and all that. They heckle. They always heckle the alpha males. You'll see them. The journalists never take the side of the alpha male. They're always heckling him. But what's happening is it's the alpha male, the hecklers, and then it's the quiet masses who actually really respect the alpha male because he's got the courage to say the truth and do the truth and live his life, and they wish they had that courage. You'll always notice it. But the hecklers are so loud that you'll think that nobody likes the alpha male. But, Trump just won the election, so we know that's obviously not true. So, again, the only way to pass the shit test is to not give a fuck what they think. So if they call you childish, you have to not care, okay? This is an unlock for the life you want. Seriously. People will never admit it, but they love you for this. Like that story I just said about the diaper thing. Like, alpha males getting heckled. Like, this is a thing. They love you for it because they love the fact that you can't be controlled. Everything you want is on the other side of people's shoulds. Once you get past the fact that people are throwing these shoulds at you all the time, it unlocks everything you want in life, guys. You cannot have the life you want if you're controlled by the shoulds, because the shoulds are about people trying to control you. And they don't want what's in your best interest. They want to control you and have you do what they want you to do. For example, society wants you to go work a 9 to 5, pay your taxes, and die someday. The woman wants you to comply with everything she says to do. Like, people want, like, your friends want you to go out and drink instead of work on your business. Everybody's throwing the shoulds at you to try and get you to comply to their will. But what you want is on the other side of those shoulds. So, for example, dating beautiful women. You're not going to pass their shit tests if you give into the shoulds. Beautiful women are going to shit test you. They're going to tell you all kinds of, you should do this. You should, I don't sleep with a guy until the third date, or blah, blah, blah. You should buy this, or you should do this, or like they'll just say this stuff all the time. And if you're just giving into that, you're going to be a doormat. You're going to get run over. You're going to get those pictures we saw earlier. You're going to be getting cheated on, left on red, all that kind of stuff. You can't have beautiful women if you're controlled by shoulds. You cannot have a Ferrari or a mansion on the lake if you're controlled by shoulds, because you know what this guy had when he was building his empire and he got to the top? He had people saying he was unbalanced. You should rest. You shouldn't work so hard. Life's not about money. You shouldn't care about money. All these shoulds, should. It's just people lobbing shit at you to see if they can control you. And this guy said, I don't care what you think. I'm going to do what I do. He thought about it rationally from the ground up. He was uncontrollable. He went and got what he wanted. This is the unlock to life. A lot of you guys are living in this prison in your mind. Your life's a prison by the shoulds. Like the shoulds have you on lock and key, guys. Seriously, it's crazy. I see this all the time with people. They won't do what they want with their lives because of some shoulds. They're worried about judgment. They're afraid of guilt. Like, it's just stupid. My physique, again, I just mentioned it. Seriously, the amount of shoulds I've gotten for this. You shouldn't care so much. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't follow that diet. You should live a little. Just drink. Do this. Blah, blah, blah. It's just they say this stuff all the time. But guess what? I have the physique that most people want. Seriously. I'm not trying to brag. It's just a fact. And the only way I got that is because I didn't care what people thought. So I'm going to go do what I do, guys. Listen, last words on this. There are no shoulds in life, only consequences. What do I mean by that? I mean that should statements are all a myth. They're not grounded in reality. They're just people lobbing stuff at you to control you. And the only thing that you need to understand is when somebody says a should, just understand there's a consequence behind it. You should go to the family reunion. What are the consequences if you don't go? That's what you should be asking. You should do what this woman says. What are the consequences if I don't? Well, in that case, you're actually going to get her more attracted to you. You shouldn't work hard. Well, what are the consequences if I do work hard? Oh, I get rich. Okay. Like, just think about consequences. When someone says should, just think about the consequences. And if the consequences of you doing something get you what you want, then ignore their should. That's just a good litmus test for it, guys. Hope this video motivates you to start living life on your terms. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.